Welcome back. After years of debate on how to do it, you will finally see at least a small decrease in your electric bill starting next month. Part of the public benefits charge will come off your bill, and the state will now borrow money to fund the things that ratepayers were paying for, like electric vehicle charging networks and other things. But lawmakers on both sides say more rate relief is needed. But how do we get there? Representative Joe Canino joins me now, Republican from Torrington on energy and technology. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Welcome to Face the Facts. Let's start with the effort to bring the soaring electric rates down. They're expected to tick down in September, which we know. About $9 for Eversource customers, 14 or so for UI. Is that enough, and where do we go from here?
Thank you for the question. It is absolutely not enough. Ratepayers are going to see about $100 come off their bill each year, but this is just a start. Republicans were a little dismayed to see us put this onto bonding, considering we're really just pushing the money into a different pool. Instead of having ratepayers pay for it, we're bonding it out, which means, well, someone's going to pay for it eventually.
With interest.
Of course.
Yeah.
We need long-term, meaningful change. And that includes many points from our 6-point proposal from the beginning of session. You know, going and looking at the public benefits charge, what's working and what's not. That charge now represents 30% of your bill.
Now, when you say looking at it, meaning like the individual programs,
the individual line items.
Funds.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. What are we funding? You know, there are certain programs that are great that help people who are low income. There are certain programs that are funding EV charging stations. We need to look at what is working, what's not working. But these are public policy implements. They should go through the regular budget process every 2 years and be thoroughly vetted before we're charging them to our consumers.
Debated on the floor, we should do this, we should not.
Absolutely.
And so moving forward, how would you like to see that? Would you just like to see that entire charge debated? So the reason why the Democrats decided they didn't want to do that is, oh, it's going to be picking winners and losers. What's your response to that?
Well, you know, we need to study it. We need to see exactly what's working and what's not. And yeah, you might be picking winners and losers, but at the same time, this charge is significantly higher than it was even 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was 4% of your bill. Now it's 30% of your bill.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And while we're talking about looking at generation, you know, we heard Senator Blumenthal talk about transmission costs. That public benefits charge is rising more rapidly than any piece of your bill.
So bring me behind the scenes a little bit. What was it like? Because this feels, to ratepayers, it feels like it's only an incremental bit of help. What was the debate like behind closed doors within the committee and then on the floor? It seems like could we have taken a larger bite out of these rates, or like what was it like?
Absolutely.
What was the pushback? What was your position?
Well, there are short-term and long-term steps that we can take. You know, long-term steps include looking at increasing nuclear capacity in the state. Our Millstone power plant provides 33% of the energy in this state. Right. You know, looking at ways to get more clean energy that is not only not producing CO2, but is also very affordable. It lasts for a long time, and it's always on. With wind and solar, it only powers as much as the wind is blowing or the sun is shining. Right. Those nuclear power plants are running 24/7.
Big battery storage can help that, but then there's problems with getting battery storage facilities built.
Correct.
Right.
We also looked at incentivizing more natural gas production in pipelines. Natural gas is the perfect transition fuel as we go from, you know, dirtier fuels like coal to renewables like nuclear, or nuclear is not a renewable. Right. Renewables like natural gas, wind.
Right. I understand. Wind and solar are the renewables. Yeah. It's a transition.
It's a transition fuel. It's much cleaner.
So as far as adding nuclear to Millstone, would that, in your opinion, would that take adding another generator, maybe one of the smaller, newer, modern generators?
Yes.
Like, how would that take steps to move in that direction, do you think?
Well, we could also look at having advanced nuclear reactors placed in communities throughout the state on a consent basis. Of course, it would have to come to the legislative body of that municipality to allow that to go there. Got it.
Okay, so you are 28. You're one of the youngest members of the state legislature. First, why did you decide to jump into politics? Somebody in their 20s, it's not usual, but it was a calling for you. Why?
Absolutely. Well, I grew up in the city of Torrington, and I wanted to make my community better. I wanted to be the voice at the state level and really show how people are hurting, not just young people, but people of all ages. We are the most expensive state, one of the most expensive states to live in the country. Taxes are through the roof, both state taxes and local property taxes. And I feel like we should be having an affordability first mindset here in the state of Connecticut. So no new taxes, and finding ways to have government work more efficiently for the people of Connecticut.
So housing is one of the biggest hurdles, right? So if you get out of college, you get out of the military, you get out of whatever training you've gotten, it's like, look, I need a place to live.
Right.
Rents for a 2-bedroom apartment can be $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Trying to afford a mortgage or find a house at all in Connecticut. How do we tackle that?
You know, it is a very complex issue. While some might want to have a complete top-down mandate from the state, we need to look at, you know, each individual municipality and see what works best for them. I personally believe that at the municipal level, we should be going to our planning and zoning commissions and to our planning agencies and finding ways to encourage those types of housing that we want to build. And it's all types of housing. Not just low income, not just affordable, not just, you know,
senior citizens,
exactly.
Right.
Workforce housing.
Right.
And finding the ways to do that with the people who know their communities the best. But I, for one, you know, in my community of Torrington, I want as much housing as we can get.
Right.
And I make that very clear. And so incentivizing developers to come in and build that housing, it's very important because at the end of the day, housing is a commodity just like anything else. It's supply and demand.
Yep.
The more supply we have, the better the prices are.
Representative, we've got to leave it there. Appreciate your time for joining us on Face the Facts.
Thank you very much.
All right.